peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Welcome to the Good Faith Podcast, where friends who follow Jesus help each other make sense of the world. I'm your host, Curtis Chang. This podcast is produced by a nonpartisan 501c3 organization. Listeners, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. You can consider this segment like my Christmas card to you, except it doesn't feature carefully curated pictures of our family and all the attractive places in the world that we've visited this past year on vacation. Now, I've got nothing against those kinds of cards. I appreciate getting them from my friends. But, well, let's face it, the picturesque scenes pictured in those backgrounds is not where most people dwell. For so many, especially for those more vulnerable and less privileged, the scene this past year has felt much more dark and dangerous, filled with feelings of grief and pain. It's that increasingly I don't even want to look upon the daily headlines. When I do cast a sideways glance, I see what seems like an insane world. Our polarized politics at home, the exercise of authority that is mean and unchecked, our wars abroad, our increasing submission to technology, our failures to steward creation, our broken culture that does not uphold life. And by the way, for followers of Jesus, such negative reactions should not be defined by purely partisan and secular commitments. I think why we as Christians, whether we sit on the right, left, or center, or somewhere between all those points, ought to feel homeless in this world is because this world does not seem to mesh with Jesus. And it's not just in our politics or our society. All of us, in our personal lives, experience ways that do not seem to mesh with Jesus. To live in this world is to experience suffering of all kinds. And amidst that suffering, we cry out in anguish. And at least for me, that kind of cry does not always feel like it is getting answered in the present moment by God. It's confusing. So, how do we respond in this tangled moment? For followers of Jesus, is there news that lifts us higher than any photo of vacations can, but at the same time that acknowledges the world is filled with needs deep and great? This is why, in this Christmas moment, we have the opportunity to remind ourselves with the deep truths of Jesus. And this is where we can be helped by supplementing the words of Scripture with the words of poetry. I want to share with you one such piece of poetry. It's a poem called First Coming by Madeleine L'Engle. The poem is taken from her book, The Ordering of Love. First Coming. He did not wait till the world was ready, till men and nations were at peace. He came when the heavens were unsteady and prisoners cried out for release. He did not wait for the perfect time. He came when the need was deep and great. He dined with sinners in all their grime, turned water into wine. He did not wait till hearts were pure. In joy, he came to a tarnished world of sin and doubt. To a world like ours of anguish, shame, he came, and his light would not go out. He came to a world which did not mesh, to heal its tangles, shield its scorn. In the mystery of the Word made flesh, the maker of the stars was born. We cannot wait till the world is sane to raise our songs with joyful voice. For to share our grief, to touch our pain, he came with love. Rejoice, rejoice. This poem reminds us that Jesus was all about entering and loving a world that did not mesh with him. He could look upon scenes filled with anguish, shame. In his first coming, he loved a world that was as, or even more, tangled as our world today. So we do not need to wait till the world is sane to raise our songs with joyful voice. He has come. And as her title, First Coming, suggests, we hold the expectation of his second coming, when Jesus will decisively heal our grief and touch our pain. This expectation especially enables those of us carrying such grief and pain, whether it's out there in the headlines or in here in our personal and family lives, to still declare, rejoice, rejoice. Poems do take us to this deeper place, and so do songs. One singer-songwriter that especially has helped me to raise our songs with joyful voice is Sandra McCracken. In particular, her song, The Space Between, speaks to this idea that we are people who will experience suffering and doubt, because we are people living between the first coming that the poem describes and a second coming that we await. Listeners can find it on Sandra's new Christmas EP, I Heard the Bells. Here's a snippet of The Space Between, after which Sandra will share some of her thoughts on Christmas.
December ends, make way for dreams, wait for the light to raise the spring, embrace it all, from hope to doubt, like ocean waves, washing in and out. Two worlds apart, come close again. Where do you stop? Where do I begin? Each year we learn more what it means to bless the space that's in between.
I'm Sandra McCracken, and just to be here with you listeners on the Good Faith podcast. I'm talking into a little microphone and some little cable sends it through my computer onto a screen. And I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and to say if we could be sitting by the fire, that would be so much more fun. We would all get to raise a cup of hot chocolate and do this thing in the same room together. But I am so grateful to be with you on this special day and wish you a very Merry Christmas. When I think about the big pause in the story of Christmas, the 500 years of silence, the expectation, the hope, all this stuff. I mean, I am wired as a singer-songwriter to, play the sad songs on repeat. I don't fully understand why music is so wrapped up in our human stories and our relationships, but I can look back over my life and would say it is, it's like the soundtrack. It's the thing that's going on in the background. And especially at Christmas time, there are these songs that get bound up in our memories. And so they take us to a particular place, and we have memories of safety and warmth and light in the middle of the winter, And also just a time when we can sing together and we remember and we have a shared song. And so no matter what kind of church you go to or what kind of neighborhood you live in, I think Christmas songs are really a thread that bring us together into a common life. All those hymns that are like joy of every longing heart. And honestly, it just gets sweeter the more you lean into that reality and just okay, let's not pretend that this is not an in-between time. And yet, there are times I still resist that. And so, when I think about poems like Madeleine L'Engle and Lucy Shaw has a whole batch of writings on the incarnation. And you just think about this moment of expectation, right? Before and then what happens when the light breaks in. And so I think we're living in it. And some days we accept it and acknowledge it more than other days. I'm just speaking for myself. In my vocation, in my job, it's that is the place where there's permission to say, let's go ahead and call it what it is. Let's go ahead and say, these broken things are not as they should be yet. And so in those places, I think we find that there's a lot of hope, and hope is not what we already see. It is the expectation of things that will be, that have yet to come. And so if we were practicing hope, but we already had it, that's not the real thing we're doing right now, for better and worse. And so Yeah, I think poetry and songs during like that deal with the in-between are really helpful for us to, as Madeleine L'Engle says in this poem, like they keep us sane because you're not trying to pretend. You're not trying to like just like put a happy face on it. You're saying this is what it is and we're going to be joyful because there's real joy even in the middle of the waiting. And in those places, I think it is right to say we have something to grieve and we are in a new beginning. There's another new beginning right here and right now. So what will we make of it? What new memories are we going to shape? How are we going to rearrange the seating? Who else are we going to welcome into the space that is now open? And it is like, I guess I would just say that to say like, we don't dismiss the grief and the loss that we've experienced in this past calendar year, but we say, yes, and there's more. When I think about the postcard of what I want it to be like, and I think about what it's really like, I want to dig deep there and look for ways to really find hope.
Free fall, feet off the ground, a clean white page, fresh snow, no sound.
I wrote the song The Space Between with Cindy Morgan and Gabe Dixon. Just to like the simplicity of singing it, the short phrases. And there are a few places in it I think that really kind of catch me every time.
We blast the seeds under the snow. We blast the patience, take it slow. We blast the limits, bless the tears. We blast the failures that brought us here.
We bless the seeds under the snow. We bless the patience, take it slow. We bless the limits. And I think just this idea that we're in it, we're going to bless the things that are in transition, the things that are not quite where they will be. And yeah, it's a theme that keeps coming up, so we keep singing it. This is a bit of an off-the-wall story, but it relates to the beginning of this writing of the song of The Space Between. But I met an equine therapist that talked about working with horses and therapy, like to work as a counselor with people and horses. I was really fascinated with the process. But she spoke about when you're standing beside a horse, there's a whole world of what's happening between that animal and you. And there was literally a space between. And she related it to relationships. Like you think like, oh, we're locked in, we're married, or we're family, or we're roommates, or whatever, your relationship to others. But honestly, there's always a space between the two. And this, like, I remember it just made such an imprint on me, just thinking like, there's this like sacred space between you. Sometimes it's wider, sometimes it's smaller. And in that whole place, there's something for us to learn and something for us to just some illumination about who we are, who the other person is, and how we live in honor and love for one another, and separateness in a way, are being beside, but not exactly the same. And so honestly, that was like the first conversation in the songwriter room. And then we kind of went from there and landed in this thing of actually on the calendar year, what happens between Christmas and New Year's.
From Christmas night to New Year's Eve, we bless the space that's in between.
So the horse didn't make it into the song, but it is the backdrop to think it's a fascinating thing how the space between is, it plays in a lot of different places in music making and in collaboration.
We bless the space that's in between. We bless the space that's in between.
This Christmas, I am learning to bless the space in between the creative process and the finished process. The finished product maybe is a way to say it, but it may not be a product. But I really, I'm in a hurry sometimes to get to that final product, like whether that's making an album or resolving a conflict with a loved one. There is a sense of we're on our way. We want to get there. We want to resolve it. But then there are these places where you think, like, what if I just left the laundry? And what if I just left the dishes in the sink and gave it a minute and sat here across the table from someone, or sat down to write a letter? It's like the very simple things that we can do at a time of year like this one, where you just have a little extra time, and you can either fill it and stay busy, or you can just embrace it and look for the small things that build a beautiful life. When I think of the nativity scene and the invitation to pay attention to the small things, to be still in the middle of a scene that is no doubt like messy, and it's dark and it's probably cold, and you've got this like manger scene where this baby is born in a way that was not at all what we expected for the royalty and kingship of God coming to be with us in this way. And like, no one could have scripted this. And I mean, other than the prophets, and they didn't know what they were doing. But the way that God sent us word, and then he said, this is what is coming. And we didn't understand, and we still didn't recognize it. And so I think for me, as I hear that this year, and as I think the part that catches me is how the slowness and the quietness of just being present in these moments of like a newborn baby being born they're also very similar to end of life or illness. And I think of friends and loved ones over this last year when I've been up close to people that have to struggle with illness, slowness of their body or mind that they didn't have any control or choice over. There's something profound where I can sense the nearness of God in those places. And so I think for me, whether I'm in front of, like if I'm on tour and I'm traveling and playing music, or if I'm home running carpool and doing family life in everyday rhythms, I think in both places I want to pay more attention to that kind of intentional slowness that we are invited into in the manger, in the nativity scene, so that it doesn't have to be by way of, extreme situation. And it may be, it might be illness, or it might be something else that slows us down. But really it's, there's the nearness of God in the unexpected place, and sometimes in the very quiet, the most, I think the word would be meek, like the place of meekness, of humility, is the place where grace is abundant and just easier to see maybe sometimes than in the powerful seat of success, And so I guess that would be the invitation for this year for me, is to just choose that kind of slowness and try to live into it, even when the year ramps up and gets busy.
Thank you, Sandra, for your music and your reflections. I especially was moved by her thoughts about how we are all people on the way. And that way can be for us at some points, and indeed will be for all of us at some points, marked by hardship and suffering. And so if that's true for you in this Christmas season, my heart goes out to you. And if that's not true for you, that's such a good thing, and I rejoice with you. So all of you, I want to thank you for being with us here at the Good Faith Podcast On the Way, and want to see you all in 2026 as we once again gather around the campfire.